I want to talk about Tamron's new 150 to 600 lens and put it head to head against Sigma's same offering. I've been using the Sigma off and on over this year. Took it with me to Tanzania. I was very happy. I think it is a fantastic value lens. For just about $400 more though, the Tamron offers some nice features. First up is the soft lock. The zoom ring, slide it forward, and the whole lens locks so you don't get that annoying lens creep. Both lenses, of course, offer little lock switches as well, but this is a much easier way when you need to unlock the lens. Both models are also compatible with their USB docks, or tap as Tamron calls it, giving you some customizability. And I mentioned this in my tease video a couple weeks ago. The tripod collar is an Arca Swiss compatible plate, so you don't have to put any other plates on here if you have an Arca Swiss style head. I really like that. That's a nice touch. But what it really comes down to is sharpness. So we're going to go back to the computer. We're going to look at some shots that I've taken with both of these lenses over the last couple of weeks, kind of decide what is sharpest and how much that $400 takes you. All right, it's been a few weeks since I made that intro video. I've had time to shoot more with the lenses, and one of the things that I didn't mention out in the field, focus speed. The Tamron seems to consistently focus a little bit faster. It's not a huge difference. I wouldn't call the Sigma slow, but the Tamron is a little faster. Now let's take a look at some sharpness differences. The first shot I want to look at is this Seattle city skyline. We're at 150 millimeters, f6.3. That's not the widest aperture these lenses can shoot at 150 millimeters. They could be at f5. f5, you see a little bit improvement from the Tamron versus the Sigma. At f6.3, I still give it to the Tamron for a win. We've got some lighting differences here as well that makes it a little trickier, but we're at 1:1. We're zoomed in. For all of these shots, we really need to go 1:1 to see the true sharpness differences. Anytime I carefully tested, the quality differences were very close, but oftentimes the Tamron would have a slight lead when viewed at 1:1. It's important to make that distinction. So I see some slight additional detail in the edging of this building on the Tamron side of things. We notice it a little bit more when we go to these the sand pit here on these barges sitting out in the Puget Sound. Sigma on the left, Tamron on the right, and just this detail in the sand here. We're at 600 millimeters now. Again, we're zoomed 1:1 and just slight additional detail, a little bit higher contrast that we're getting out of the Tamron, everything else being equal. Now, this mossy tree trunk, the area of focus was right here, this kind of little heart shaped. When we find it on both sides, it should be, there it is. And if we look carefully on the Tamron, this is probably one of my most careful focus tests. I took multiple shots, chose the sharpest from each lens, and I just see more detail in the moss that looks like a little fern here in that space than I do over here on the Sigma. Again, at 1:1, but that difference is there. If we zoom out, I think you'll have a very difficult time telling any difference between these two lenses, making judgments about the background, all extremely similar. Looking at the side of a building, let's go back to 1:1 here. And let's sync them up. This is at 600 millimeters. I think this is very close. Might give the edge to the Sigma here. Again, I took multiple shots, chose the sharpest of the group from each lens, and then compared, and we're looking using the 80D in this example. I've got shots at 150 millimeters, also again at 6.3. Again, very similar. I think I might give a slight edge to the Tamron on this one. Look at the weathering under that window. Let's find it on this side.
And here's that same weathering here. Very close. All of these images are available as their full resolution downloads linked at PhotoRec.tv. You can find those. Now, the last images I want to share, I want you to be careful about drawing any major conclusions with them because, well, let me explain. So let's switch them so that they've been as they have been. We've got the Sigma on the left, the Tamron on the right. Sigma looks way sharper. We've got a lot of variables here. One big difference being ISO 2000 on the Sigma, ISO 5000 on the Tamron. Now this was a wild owl, so I wasn't sure how much time, how long he was going to hang out on this perch for. So I wasn't as carefully and scientifically testing. But what I did find is that the reason this guy on the left is at ISO 2000 is I could get my shutter speed down to 1/200th of a second relying on the image stabilization. Over on the Tamron side, when I dropped my, and you can see again, zoomed out, they look pretty good, both of them. But up close, you can see that there's more detail, of course, at that lower ISO. So this is not a comparison of sharpness, but this is a comparison of image stabilization because when I went the Tamron to 1/200th of a second, it's very soft. Again, I shot multiple images at 1/200th of a second, and I didn't get any sharp ones from Tamron. I shot multiple images at 1/200th of a second from the Sigma, and I got at least one image that is nicely sharp. Does this mean that that the image stabilization in the Sigma is better? I don't think you can draw that conclusion, but I certainly had more success at slower shutter speeds. And again, this is out at 600 millimeters, so focal length rules suggest that your shutter speed should be at least 1/600th of a second at this level. And I just wanted to share that. Kind of gives a bigger picture that there's more than just sharpness here, which for the most part, Tamron does win at both sharpness and contrast. So that's a quick look at what I consider two affordable zoom lenses. I mean, that is a lot of range for that money, the Tamron included. The Tamron's sharper, focus is faster, has some nicer features. Is that worth the extra $400-ish to you? I'll let you decide that. I think the Sigma is still a fantastic value, but if sharpness is your ultimate goal and you're pixel peeping, plus you want those nice features, the Tamron is certainly a great lens, and it is exciting to have these solid choices at these price ranges for us. If you enjoyed this review, give it a quick thumbs up, and if you plan on purchasing any of the gear, these lenses mentioned in the video below, your purchases through my links really help this channel out. You can find those right down below. And as always, if you've got questions, comments, concerns, which one would you choose and why? You can leave those in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.